Welcome to Complete Data Online Training Session 2. Today's deliverables from the session will be that you will be able to enter in an inquiry, deal with the inquiry in the correct process, enter in a brand new contact, fill in the mandatory fields that are required, and also make a contact into a buyer, work with that buyer and do some basic buyer finds. You will also be able to send a single SMS and single email to your client, and also do basic buy finds for group found sets, also referred to as target markets, and send bulk emails and bulk SMSs out of the system. Got a lot of content to cover off on today, so feel free to pause, stop and replay at any stage that you require. It's a fantastic way of self-paced learning to help you move forward with the program a lot quicker. In saying that, we're going to go into the main menu, which we're currently viewing at the moment. Anywhere you see CD icon within Complete Data, if you click on that, it will draw you back to this main menu option here that we're currently viewing. We're going to take you through the mind map of Complete Data, the big red buttons, as Lee refers to them, and show you the correct process of how the life of an inquiry or a prospect will move through the process. As we know, there's only one of two ways which clients come into our office. It's either through our prospecting activities, which are captured in our service area, or our marketing. Once we've captured the inquiry, there's one of two ways that the inquiry can move. They can be serviced in the contacts database and put on a buyer trail or a potential vendor trail, and we can then move them through the correct process which suits their requirements. You're going to hear me talking a lot about future points of contact, or trails, or set and forgets. These are all one of the same. Once we put a client on a trail, we will then set and forget them, and they will appear in our scheduled tasks. Once they appear in our scheduled task, we'll activate these activities by completing them, which will then lead to our inspections to help us achieve our results to attain our goals. Also, they can be put on a potential vendor trail, which tracks them through the appraisal process. Once we've completed our scheduled task, hopefully get an appraisal, through to a listing, through to the marketing, advertising and sales process, we're going to sell the property, which helps us achieve our reports and our commission splits. So now that we're aware of the red buttons and the view that we're currently looking at, we're going to get started with the program by coming up to Inquiries. Before we enter the Inquiries area of Complete Data, we can see that there has been 3 new inquiries already achieved since I've been out of the office. I can click into the inquiry screen, and this will bring me into a list view format. I can see the inquiry's name, the property they've inquired on, the date that it was inquired on, and also the inquiry buyer type. So he was a buyer and he was ID'd to myself. I have not activated anything against this client because he's still in my list here as such. We'll come back to the list here shortly, but we're going to look at how we can do a brand new inquiry which has come into our office. Someone's called in and they've requested some details on a property that we've got for sale. I'm going to hit New Inquiry as the administrator or the sales agent, and this will bring up our dialog box here for us. I will hit the backspace key, which takes out all the information that was in there, and I'm going to put my buyer's name. I've popped in Jamie Jones, and this on my category screen here tells me it's going to search for existing contacts and inquiries before creating a new contact. The system prompts you at all stages, so we're going to hit OK. There's no new inquiries have been found. It's created as a blank inquiry, so we hit OK. This allows us to start to work through capturing the details of the inquiry. We can see that it's ID'd as general inquiry here. I would need to capture the agent who we're going to pass this to by selecting the agent's ID. This depends on your office standard and how you divvy up your inquiries, being floor time or blocks that are required that any inquiries come in. You can sort them through this area and divvy them out. Once we capture this information, we're going to work through our list. You can see my buyer drop-down list on my inquiry type. So I will select buyer. You'll also notice at the bottom of each of these lists is an edit feature. Now I can select on edit, and I can come in and customize any of these lists to my standard of how I like to work. We don't get a lot of walk-in, so we're going to take this out. I'm now happy with my list and it's customized to my standard, or I can put some new features in here. So I've just typed them in here, I hit OK, that will save them and apply them to my drop-down list. So this has created another standard for me to capture my details within the system. I can select on OFI and populate that, or it was an internet inquiry which we'll run with at the moment. I don't need to capture the status because this will be done by the agent once the agent has come back in and dealt with the client. I'm an administrator just populating a record. So I'm clicking on the grey screen and I will move down and start to capture the client's information. So I've just populated, as you can see, in the first data entry format, a capital J and lowercase. This is called proper text format. Please ensure that you captured the data entry correct the first time, because you will never have to populate this client's name in the system again as long as you capture his details correctly. We'll put in the client's phone number in the format of 4 digits, 3 digits and a remaining 3 digits. This allows us to see that there is a nice consistent standard if we've got all the numbers for the mobile address, and we can click on the grey screen. So we're able to now SMS this client. We're capturing his email and clicking on the grey screen. This will tell me that it's either valid or captured incorrectly. Now please ensure with your data entry, you can see my cursor happening here. If I put a space and click on the grey screen, that will tell me to revert the record it is incorrect. So I'm just going to say yes. Now the reason it's told me it's invalid and incorrect is because I have got a space at the end of my data entry. As soon as I take that space out, I click on the grey screen, it is functional now. Please ensure you do not have any spaces behind any of your data entry and it's captured correctly. We'll continue to move forward and we'll pop in the postal address because my administrator has got a script and the client's kindly given it to her. We're going to pop in the suburb, so we're going to start with U. And your minor beach is the correct suburb. As you start to capture it correct from left to right, it will either bring up the suburb that you require or give you an option so that you can click this detail. We hit on the magnifying glass and that will populate the state and the postcode. So I've captured my details so far and I'm going to now populate some more mandatory fields. In complete data, you do have the opportunity to select and populate. So I'm highlighting it here by clicking on the detail. I'm using my mouse to left click, drag and drop. So we've now dragged Jamie's first name into the dear field. We're also going to address him as Mr. J, and once again click on Jones so it highlights, hold down my key on my mouse, drag and drop into the field that I require. This is a great feature if you're not great at data entering, it's so that you can select and populate straight away. We're We're going to scroll down now that we've captured his mandatory fields. The Dear field and his address line formal greeting will come through on all of our mail merge documents. If you do not capture this information correctly, on your contact records, when you go to do a bulk mail out or bulk mail merge, it will draw through with no details in there. So please try and capture as many postal address, Dear and address lines as you can. We're going to scroll down to the bottom now. Whilst I'm speaking to the client on the phone, he's requested some details about 1 Stone Street, Bedrock. I can SMS the client automatically because I'm a Saturday administrator and I'm not quite sure on the information. I cannot give any details out to the client, but I am able to SMS an Office Standard Approved text, which has been captured against the listing at the point of the list. So we're going to select on SMS, and that will successfully send out with a result of 10, which will appear here. That has gone directly out to the client whilst I'm talking to him and capturing his details in my system. Fantastic tool, especially if no one's in the office on a Saturday morning and you've got your Saturday morning girl. She can capture this information and populate, and your clients have received some information. Whilst she or he has been speaking to the client, they've discussed that they're looking in the 325 to 400 range. So she or he will come in and select 250 to 325, 325 to 400, and so forth. So we'll select the category above, the category below, and the category that they're looking at. We're going to come through and type the rest of our details in here. House they're looking for, and they're looking in a few suburbs. If your administrator has captured this information, she can populate it and the agent can qualify them and clarify this detail at any point in time. Special needs is a fantastic option. If you have got someone who is looking for wheelchair access and you may not have anything for them currently, or would like something walking distance to schools or golf course, we can capture this information in here and do a find. So I'm just going to tab in golf course and click on the grey screen. So if I find anything with a special needs which is close to a golf course, I can communicate with this client, be it 2 months, 3 months or 6 or 12 months down the track, by just typing golf course in the special needs. I can write any detailed notes as well that they may have discussed with us, such as they may be putting their home on the market or they're only available for the next couple of hours. Whatever the case may be, we will pop in a detailed message here. Type text here and then click on the grey screen. When I click on the grey screen, we'll see that the note has not been captured. All we need to do then is activate it by updating the note, and your note will not be able to be changed or added to from this area. So if I go into write note again, if I hit on write note, I can type in another note, but I cannot change the note that was already populated previous. It's a locked off system. We've captured as much detail as we can against this client. I've finished my phone call with him, and then as an administrator or as an agent, I need to make sure that this client is not going to be forgotten within the system, that at all stages he will be activated. I can come into trails. I can set them on our inquiries future point of contact, being my sample inquiry trail, and hit set. I'm selecting it from today's date to ensure that he will receive a call, even if someone forgets him, within the next 1 to 5 days. I've now set and forgotten this client. Session 1 takes you through how you can set up your own trails and standards in the system. We're just going to click on details and come back to where we were working. So I've captured the information, I've ID'd it to the agent who needs to receive the information, I've set the client on a trail or a future point of contact, so he's set and forgotten. So set and forget, and he will appear in our scheduled task database as an activity that we will need to complete to communicate with him. I also will then come over as an administrator and select on SMS agent. This will SMS Jamie Jones. We'll capture his details there. Jamie Jones and his mobile information and the property that he has inquired on. 1 Stone Street. That will send the information directly out to Carissa Cole, who's currently out of the office at her open for inspections. This is a fantastic way, so she's getting her messages and inquiries straight away. And also she can communicate with the potential buyer and let them know that she's just around the corner and she can arrange an inspection with them. Once they come back into the office, we can tag it off as dealt with and capture the status here of the client. But as an administrator, my job is done. I've SMS'd the buyer, I've SMS'd the agent and put them on a future point of contact and captured the details successfully. We're now going to go back to our list view. And here's our client and he's been populated. We've only got one in the current found set. We can go back to the CD icon here and go back to the main menu of complete data. We can see now that there is a running total of 4 inquiries that have been actioned in our inquiries database. We're back to the list view where we started. I can see that Jamie Jones has been added to the list and he has been identified to myself as well. As the agent, I have come back into the office and I have qualified Jamie and he is quite ready to go. I'm going to move Jamie to the contacts database and I'm going to start to build my relationship with him. So your options here are to move to contact or alternatively capture this client on hold, delete the client, which we don't want to do, and we have left message dealt with pending. These are our options and you can apply your own options that are required under the edit view. In this case, he has been actioned on a move to contact and I'm going to move Jamie straight into my contacts database so I can build a relationship with him because he's qualified and ready to go. If my client was not qualified, I would then come into trails. I can delete this trail that is required and I can set him on a 42-day buyer trail still to communicate with him, but it might be a low motivation buyer trail. So you might get a call once every 2 weeks. I can set them on an activity or an action plan from the inquiries database and I do not have to move them over to the contacts database until they are ready, cached up, ready to go. We can still see them, we can still communicate with them, we can still tag an inspection against these clients, but we don't need to move them into the contacts database as yet. But for training purposes, we've now captured this gentleman, we've spoken to him as the agent, I also have completed a few inspections with him, so I'm now built my relationship and I'm going to move him into the contacts database because he is qualified. Now that I've selected Move to Contacts, Jamie is in my contacts database tagged as a buyer with his first name, surname and his information that we captured in the inquiries database all populated with his right notes. As well as Jamie having all of his information captured in here that we've populated previously, I can click on the little buyer icon, which we'll go into in great depth shortly. I can select on the buyer icon information and this will take me through to his buyer details in the buyer screen. We can see that we're in the buyer screen here and we're still in the CD contacts database. When you move databases, you will be able to always see which database you are working in as the details are provided to you up the top here. So if I had a little bit more detail about what Jamie was looking for in a property, I can capture this successfully by selecting he's a warm buyer, he's actually a live-in or owner-occupier, he's present housing, he lives with his parents, and we can start to capture his motivation. First home, He wants to be close to all these, so we'll select and populate what he requires. He wants a granny flat so he can rent it out to one of his mates to make a bit more money. We can capture the construction. Once again, anywhere that you see the edit field within complete data, be it construction, house or features, you can edit and capture your own standard in here. We're scrolling down. We can see if we've got a new inspection. We can apply an inspection from here, but we'll leave it at this point in time. So all Jamie's information that we've captured is now living on his buy screen, and we can start to maximize his information against our buy finds and match to listings a little bit later on in the session. We're just going to click on details, which will take us back to our contact record that we've imported into the contacts database. I have not had to type anything, he's just been moved over from where we captured him in the inquiries. I'm going to select on the CD icon, which is taking us back to the main menu where we started working. We can see here that we've only got 3 inquiries left in our inquiries database, and our Jamie has been worked with and pushed into the contacts database. The next opportunity we're going to go and have a look at is putting in a brand new contact, and why contacts are different to inquiries. Inquiries are our open for inspections, our phone into the office, anything that we've got which has come directly in from a marketing activity. We put them on an inquiries trail as they're inquired on a particular property for a particular reason. The only time I would come straight in and bypass the inquiry process is if I met a past vendor or a past client that I've already attained a relationship with and want to put them straight into my contacts database. This means that they have not inquired on any properties. To do so, I come into contacts. I come to new contact, and I go to populate my contact into the system. I populate Ken Howard, and now it's going to check the system for the inquiries and also the contacts database to make sure that he's not already in here. No, he's not. So we're going to hit OK, and a blank inquiry record, a blank contacts record has been created for us. We will now start to go and capture our details of our client that we met on the street. He was a previous vendor of mine, so I'm going to populate his details. I know him as Ken. Tab. We need to start capturing the information in the correct format as we did in the inquiries database. So the correct mobile number in the same format. Click on the grey screen. Click on the grey screen, and we've now captured that and saved. Within Complete Data, as soon as you update any information in a field, it will capture it and save it as soon as you click on the grey detail. So we're just populating our detail, clicking on the grey screen and saving it. Now I happen to know that Ken has got a wife that he purchased a property with several years ago off me, and I need to capture her details as well. Now if Ken and his wife are happily married, we'll populate down to the black line here. So we're just going to populate her information here. Joy's mobile number, click on the grey screen and her email address. And click. So we've now captured Ken's details, Joy's details. We can apply the fax number, home, work. All this information is just very simple data entry. The mandatory fields that we need to make sure, as in the inquiry section, needs to be the dear field. Now, once again, we can use our select, drag and drop feature. And drag and drop into here. And we can also put an N symbol and pop in Joy's details. So on all the letters, it's going to refer to Ken and Joy. We're going to come down and populate our address line here. Mr. K and J Howard, and click on the grey screen. So we've now got their information populated successfully. The lead source is a very important information to capture, so we're going to select on Internet. They're not a business contact, but if I wanted to refer to them as a business or a tennis contact or a golf contact, I could select the edit feature and categorize them in a group. I'm just going to click on the grey screen here. I'm going to tag them as Christmas card yes, because I've already got a relationship with them, and it was before I had my complete data, so I'm now entering them in. I'm going to send them a newsletter, and we're now going to write down here the information that we know to be true, such as present housing, they own their own home. Right note. So we're going to pop in here I met him in the supermarket and he's now looking for an investment property. I can select on Update Note, and that has just updated the note and saved it for me. Now Ken is now looking to become a purchaser and purchase an investment property in our new area. So we're going to tag him as Buy Yes. We can populate his category as cold, warm or hot. We're going to go warm, and vendor category he is cold. He's happy where he's living currently at the moment, so we're going to capture his membership. Now because he has purchased a property off me in the past, we're going to categorize him so that we can target market this group. Within Complete Data, when we're target marketing, someone who is tagged as a gold member is someone that has paid money to the company, as in a commission, or who was a past vendor or past landlord. Someone who we categorize as a silver is anyone who has purchased a property from the company. So that would be silver, and we can continue forward with the rest of our membership. A bronze is someone that we've had contact with who is thinking of buying or selling. And a prospect is someone in our database that we haven't yet had contact with as yet. So we may have been emailing, but we haven't verbally spoke to them. They're not really a contact till we can get in and find out their requirements and exactly what they like and get them to an inspection, which entails sometimes getting their phone number. So however you would like to categorize these, you can make up your own categories. The gold, silver and bronze and prospect activation is just how we refer to them and suggest if you don't have any current categories, that's the best way to categorize your clients. So we've now categorized the membership. We now know that he is a buyer yes. They can be a buyer yes, and they can also be a past buyer. If he purchased his current home off me, I can activate this as yes, he's still looking in the market because he's just looking for an investment property, but he may have purchased something off me in the past. I can hold down the shift key and tag past. I will not be able to do it if I just select on the icon. It will not allow me to select both at one time. But you can tag yes, hold down your shift key and tag past. This means when I do a find on all my past vendors or my past purchases, he will pop up in that category. Now that we've successfully captured the record, I hear a lot of comments saying, why have you not captured the detail in this right hand side? We only capture the information on the right hand side of the contacts record if it is a business contact or the clients are being separated and would like to receive separate communications. That is the only time we would fill in this detail. Sometimes there may be business contacts, but this couple may be being divorced, so we would populate her postal address so that we could send her some information, and then we would address her as Dear Joy on this side and Dear Ken on this side. They would not be addressed together. So we'll take out this information. We can address her as Joy and Mrs. J. Howard. Click on the grey screen and that will save. I need to just take out the last bit in here. Click on the grey screen and now our contact record has been successfully captured. So that's only if they are divorced and not wanting to receive the same communications. They both require separate letters, so they're up to date at all times. We're just going to revert the record back to how we had it originally by clicking, dragging and dropping. Popping our cursor in, our N symbol and J. We'll see shortly how we can mail merge a letter to these clients and why it's so important to capture the Dear field and the address line and the information of their postal details. The last thing before we get out of this client's record, now that we've captured them successfully in the system, we need to put them on a future point of contact or a trail. We select on the trail, and this client is looking for an investment property, so I'm going to put them on my 42-day buyer standard trail. I select my trail, I hit set, and I'm now going to set it from the date that I wish it to start from. So we select on OK, and I met him at the supermarket today. I'm going to set his actions from today's date. And I now know that this client will be serviced to my standard. He's going to receive an SMS with a buyer template, which will pop up in my scheduled tasks. He's also going to receive a letter, an email, a phone contact, and the following of my standards here. Now that we've set this client on a set and forget trail, we can get out of the details and we can go back to the main menu. That's how we go in and enter in a brand new contact and tag them as a buyer. Now a few days have gone past and I've come into my scheduled activities, which I have a blocked out time between the time I get in the office and 10 AM or 10:30, whatever time suits your standards, and I'm going to do my scheduled tasks. These are all my next activities that I will need to complete to make sure that my client is going to be serviced to my standard. You can see from my list here I have got 290 actions. Later in the session, we'll come and see how we can do these bulk actions to our clients and work more effectively through our scheduled tasks. When you're getting started, you must have 30 tasks a day to be able to be effective within your business at a minimum. We're going to scroll down and we can see by the icons these are phone activities. There's an email activity here, so I'm going to email the purchaser a coming soon brochure. I've also got a sales advice that I need to complete. And I've also got all the other activities that are listed here, and we can see by the icons on the side what activities they are. So there's a lot of letters there for prospective purchasers. I may have done a letter for them that needs to go out today. I'll show you shortly how we can group all the prospective purchaser letters and complete them in one action. We can see here we've got a little SMS feature, so I can click on the SMS and that will draw me straight through to my SMS template. Now, we talked about making sure we've achieved session 1. This is where we've created our standards. We've now been able to set and forget, and we're going to be reminded of what activities need to be completed on a daily, weekly basis against each client that we've got in the system. Every client that you work with needs to be on a trail or a future point of contact. We're just going to click on the CD icon now and go back to the main menu where we were working. That was scheduled tasks. We'll look at this in more detail at the end of the session. So now that we've entered an inquiry, we've qualified the inquiry and we've moved him into the contacts database and captured his buyer information. We've also entered a brand new contact into the contacts database and captured their details. I need to now go through and start to service and do some buy finds. I'm going to find the client that we just started to work with, contacts, and I'm going to do a find on my client. Now, you can find from left to right with incomplete data. So if you pop in Ken, we know his first name and I'm not quite sure on his surname, it starts with a H, and hit enter. This will bring up the best matches. As long as you've got the information populated from left to right, it will work for you. So we've now got Ken Howard and Joy. Now, I just remembered I tagged them as a buyer, yes, but I haven't populated what they're currently looking for in a property. I need to go into my buyer icon. This is where we capture all of our buyer details as we've seen against an inquiry before. Let's take a look at this area. Select on buyer icon and this will draw you through to the buyer data entry page. We can see that we haven't got the work phone number or home captured, but we've got some other features tagged, being warm, they own their own home at the moment, and they're tagged as buyer yes, and we've serviced them as a buyer in the past. Now, I've done my scheduled task and I've now spoken to Ken and Joy and they have changed their minds. They're no longer looking for an investment property, they're looking for a property that they're going to upgrade to. They've found something that they love in a particular range. We're going to pop in 400, the range below 325 and the range above. So we've now got the range that the clients are looking in. We've got their motivation, which is a select and populate, investment, but they've now changed to owner occupiers. They're going to buy and sell. The property type is going to be a house. They prefer full brick. The motivation is medium. And you can see the database populates into the next category that I need to pop some information in for. They want a nice big block of 950 square metres, and we've captured that, and they're in a few different suburbs. I've captured all the different suburbs that they're looking at and their special needs. So they're going to be close to the beach. That's what one of their requirements. Or you can maybe put within 100 metres. So it's really important to make sure you've got all your details in for your buyer requirements, because the more details you have, the more you can drill down to the correct person or correct group of clients that you will be looking at moving forward with. So we've now captured all his information. We're going to go up and have a look at the details buttons up here. Now, by selecting details, this will take me back to his record here. So I can see the information that I've captured and the notes. We entered into the buyer screen by clicking on the buyer icon. We've captured their information. We can see that they're tagged as a buyer yes and also a past buyer. If I wanted to do a list view of these clients, I could come in and I can do a find on everyone in my system tagged as buyer yes and hit perform the find. Now when I do a find on buyer yes, and I'll show you this find again, it brings up a group of 33 people in that category. That just means that they're all tagged as buyer yes. If I wanted to print a list view of those 33 clients, I can come in and hit list view. This gives me a more formal view and it takes up a bit more detail, but I can just hit print and that will print it out for me. Alternatively, I can select on the little icon here and that will take me back to my buyer screen. So we've looked at a list view and we've looked at a find. We'll go back through the find by selecting on find. I'm asking the database to find the specific categories that I require. Buy yes in a particular price range, which is just one price range. So I've asked the system to find everyone who's tagged as a buyer yes, who is looking for a property from 250 to 325. We're going to hit perform find. And there is 12 people out of my 62 contacts that are tagged as buyer yes, looking at purchasing a property in that 250 to 325 range. I can now print out a list and take it with me in the car. This is a bit more manageable list, so you can select print list, you can hit continue, and you can PDF it off and save it to your desktop, or you can just print it out. If I was to hit print, this tells me the server or the printer that I would like to go to. I can hit OK, make sure it's the correct information. And it's going to say here, records being browsed. This is the correct detail that we require, because if we had it on current record, it would only print off the first action. If we print off blank records showing fields, it will print off a blank record. I'll show you where this blank record showing fields comes into play a little later on. So we're going to select records being browsed. We'll hit OK and print off our list of buyers to take out in the car with us. So all I did was a very, very basic buyer find. You can drill down right to the nth degree if you require, or you can do it as often as you like in different formats. So all I did is find by yes. I asked for a particular price range, and I may also want anything to do with a 4-bedroom property and they're looking for a garage. I've now drilled down a little further on my specific target market. I'm going to come up and hit perform the find. This means we're actioning the find. Instead of having 12 in my group found set out of my 62, I now have 7. I've asked the computer and the database to refine the process for me, and it has now given me a more refined list. Perfect way to target market for specific properties or clients that you'll be looking at generating some list for. I could also hit print list, and that will generate the list for me, and I can close out and move forward. So that's our very basic buy find, by hitting find, buy yes, the categories that we require, and printing the list. Now if I wanted to find a group who have got 2 different price ranges, I would need to do a more in-depth find. This can get a little tricky. We're going to hit find on buy yes for price range $325, and we're going to ask for another request. If I put another price range in here, which I can do, so $325 to $400, all I'm asking the computer to do is find everyone who's tagged as buy yes who has both of these in the price range. This will limit my find. So we hit perform find. I still get 10 clients here, but alternatively I wanted a bigger target group. So we will hit Control R, which is a shortcut for returning to the same find that you were on. So if I hit Control R, that's taken me back to everything that was tagged as buy yes for this range here. I want to remove that range by deleting it. I now want the system to find buy yes, 325 range, come up to request, add a new request, buy yes, and anyone who has got the 325 to 400 range. This is a different target group and a different find to the one that we did. We've still got the same categories, but this is allowing us to find anyone that's got 325 to 400, and it's also allowing us to find anyone who's got 250 to 325 to spend. We now hit perform find, and I've got 18 people in my group found set. So you can see how that's achieved a different result for us. That is a more advanced find there that we just did. Finds are perfect ways to get our group found set so we can do bulk email and bulk SMS to our best target group. We've currently got 18 clients in our group found set. This is how many records we've got, being 62 records in our database, and I've got 18 that I've found which meet my requirements. The next red button that we're going to look at is History. Now under my History tab, this is where we've linked a property that we've sold to the purchaser. The rest of the information will come into play in session 3 when we look at assigning a purchaser to a property that we're going to sell and completing a sales advice. But just so that you know and are aware of the history information that is behind this tab, we're going to select on History. I can use my arrow key or my toggle bar to find a client that I have got that has purchased a property. This is essentially our History tab, which reflects Clark Kent bought a property office, which was 8 Jones Street, Umina Beach. He settled on that property, and that was back on the 12th of the 8th, 2010. He paid a sale price of $390,000. If we'd like to view the details of this property, which is in our listing screen, We can select on view, and that will take us through to the original owners, and also tell us the details of the original owners and the property. So by selecting on view, that has taken me through to our listings database. You can see I'm using CD listings. This tells me Cassie Green and John Green were the vendors for this property prior to Clark Kent purchasing it. I've got everything that was tagged as an inclusion, what he purchased with it, the private treaty, the method of sale, any details, any property notes. It had a lounge room, yes, it had a dining room, yes, and it was a 4-bedroom, a 2-bathroom and a double garage home. So if Clark Kent comes to me in 12 months' time as his mortgage rate has gone up and needs to sell quickly, I've captured and got this information on record. Now in the inquiry screen, when we sent an office approved standard text to our purchaser, we needed to click on the little icon. You may have wondered where this office approved standard text was drawn from. This is in our listing screen, which will be covered off in session 3, being the next session that you will complete. But for now, just so that you're aware, this is where the SMS is drawn through from that we can send to our clients who have inquired on a property, our select and send feature. We're going to scroll back to the top, and we're now going to use our window key, and we're going to go back to where we were working in our contacts database. The window key within Complete Data is essentially the back button. We scroll down to CD Contacts. We can see that we're currently in listings. I'm selecting on contacts. That will take me back to directly where we were working. The next thing we're going to do is click on the details to take us back to the buyer screen here. So that was all under the History tab. You can see from my find before, I've still got my group found set of 18 clients here. We'll just go and do another broad find. We'll just do a find on buyer yes for a price range of $325 to $400, and we're going to hit perform the find. Now in my buyers database, I've got 16 clients who meet my requirements. I've just had a brand new listing which has come on within my office, and I would like to send them out a bulk email. To do so, I would come up to email, and I could either send a single email to the first client of the 16 by clicking on new email, but we're going to look at bulk emailing for the moment, and we're going to select on bulk email. We're going to insert a template which we've currently generated in our system prior, which is my new listing template. I'm going to select on insert template, and in here we notice that there is the Dear merge field, the details of our template. We can click in and take out whatever we don't require, add some details if we like, and click on the grey screen, and that will save that information. So you can still customize it before you send it out to your group found set of clients. We're going to come up and we're going to send this email from an individual. It could be myself, I could send it on behalf of Kathy Dean, or on behalf of Lee Woodward. I might send it on behalf of Lee Woodward because I'm his personal assistant. So I'm going to select Lee Woodward, and I'm going to tag it as a text, and I'm going to attach a document. It may be along the lines of a brochure that you've attached, so we hit add attachment. It asks us where we would like to attach the it from. So we might go into My Documents, My Pictures. I can select what I require. I've attached my brochure. I can now prepare my bulk email, and this will let me know who it is going out to, and I can see and make sure that it's completed successfully before I hit OK. So I'm preparing the bulk email to my 16 clients, and I still have 16 clients here. If any of these clients did not have an email address in their category here, the system would have removed them from this group found set. Doesn't mean they will delete them, it just means it takes them out and they won't receive this communication. We can see here we've got Dear Superman. I can use my arrow key, and it is addressing each individual person as their Dear field and their address line 1 has been filled incorrectly. Now we're drawing through their Dear field, Derek, and Mr. and Mrs. Crumble. Now with Mr. Crumble, I actually spoke to him this morning. He has purchased a property already. I haven't updated his details, but I will need to do that in the system. But I don't want to stop what I'm currently doing and go back and fix his details up. I can omit him out of this file, which means take him out and just be left with my 15 who need to receive this email. This is the perfect opportunity to flick through and see who needs to receive the email from our system. So here I've got Mr. Crumble. I'm going to come up to Records, and I'm going to omit one record, being his record, which is the one that I'm currently working on. That's taken him out. He's no longer record number 6 or number 7. He's been removed and we've only got 15. If Mr. Pullman needed to be removed as well, we can repeat the process by coming up to Records, omit the record, and take him out of our group found set. So I'm making sure it's going to the people that require the information. I'm now ready to go. I can hit Send Bulk Email. By selecting that, that will go through, populate and push it out of the system. You can do one email as easily as you can do 1,000 from Complete Data. It just depends on your service provider and how many emails you're allowed by your service provider to push out at one stage. So do check that if you have any issues with your bulk email. Other than that, once we've sent it, we can click on Contacts, and we can see here that every email that we've ever sent out from Complete Data has been captured here. I've sent them an email on the 14th. It's Carissa Cole and it's a new listing, and I can click on the email. You would have successfully sent on there, but mine's a demonstration database, so it won't have anything captured in here as the result. And I can see that I've sent Ben Holland. This week's been an exciting week with newly listed properties about to hit the market. If you have a moment, we're still interested in purchasing, please contact me and let me know along the lines. We can also view the attachment that we've got, so we can add an attachment, but we don't need to do that. We just want to view. By viewing the attachment, I can see exactly what has been sent out to this client at any one stage. I can close it down and I can say I'm done. That is by selecting on Contact, which will take you to behind the scenes of their email categories. We're selecting on Details now, which takes you back to the main menu, where we were working before with our group found set of clients, and we're back on our Contacts screen. I can hit on the little buyer icon, which takes us back to where we were working. So we've looked at history and we've looked at bulk emails to our group found set. Now that we've looked at bulk emailing from the buyer screen to our 16 clients, we may also want to set them on a trail. I can set the whole group on a trail or an activity at a click of a button. I can see these clients are already on one action. I may also want to calculate against my KPIs for the week that I have completed these actions. I can come in and set an activity for a group found set. So this is how we can add a letter, an email, an SMS to a group of clients to pop up in our scheduled tasks. We can also tag it off as being completed before we move forward. We're going to set an activity for a group found set, being our 16 clients, and we may want to send these clients a letter. We're going to pop in here the 14th. The ID is myself. We're going to tag it as completed yes at the moment because we're doing the letter straight away. The activity type is going to be letter, and I'm going to select the letter that I would like to send to these clients. I'm going to select my prospective purchaser one letter. I do not need to populate a description in here, as we can set the activity and it will generate the description for us. Won't be a moment there, it's just generating, thinking about it. Complete data allows you to do one letter as easily as you could do 100 or 1,000 letters. So you will always get this SQL command which will come up on your system. We always just say yes to this SQL command. And it has drawn through our letter. So my letter is here with my mail merge fields. How do I get my client's details into the letter? We go up and select on mailings, and then we can go to the preview area. That will just allow me to preview the first contact. I would like to come through and finish a merge and edit individual document. This allows me to see the merge detail and also edit the document if there's something that's incorrect or that I may need to fix. We're going to hit OK. It has now mail merged through the information that we need. We can see that we're addressing Mr. Clark Kent. We're using our scroll key, and it's brought through Mr. and Mrs. Jordan's details, and dear Mr. and Mrs. Jordan here. There's no space. I can put a space here, and I'll go back to the contacts record and fix that up. So we can add, delete, or change, but we've now successfully mail merged 16 clients and done 16 letters at a couple of clicks of the button. This is why your data entry is really important. If we didn't capture it correctly, we would have details which would be missing out of these records, and we would need to then go back and fix it up and put it in. So we don't have this client's address, so that's a clear indication that we haven't captured his details, and we can just take that letter out or remove it from our details. But all the rest of the letters look pretty great, so we're going to now go through and go File, and we would print them off to our letterhead, and we're ready to go. So we're just going to close out of this area, and we're going to say no to any changes. We always say no to changes so that we do not save over these mail merge fields here. We're going to close down and we're going to say no. I've just done 16 letters as easily as I could have done one by selecting on Set Activity for Current Found Set. I could have done a letter, an email, an SMS from this function. Now that I've done 16 letters, and I might not have window envelopes, I may need to come up to scripts. We have the feature available for you to print Avery labels. So we can select Print Avery Label, and that will generate the information through onto Avery labels that we can print out and pop onto the front of our letters. We can hit Continue. Once again, print records being browsed, select the correct printer, and I'm going to cancel out of here. So I've done 16 letters, I've done 16 Avery labels, and I can now move forward. We're going to click on Details, which will take us back to the client's records that we're working on. And we can go in via our little buyer icon here. You can see I've still got my group found set because I have not gone out of the database as yet. So we've had a look at bulk emailing. We've had a look at setting a trail and doing a bulk letter out of the system. We've had a look at SMSing. By selecting on an SMS, I can also send this group of 16 clients a bulk SMS as well. By selecting on bulk SMS, we're going to insert our template and insert. And it was great to talk to you today. Be sure I will do my best to help you find the perfect property. Have a great day. Carissa Cole, Real Estate. I've now sent this message out to my group found 16 people. I'm going to prepare it by selecting my ID and who it is going to come from. So I can select my name or whoever is going to be completing this action. And also you will notice this button here. If you're running on the Office version, you'll have this feature being able to select, and that will put in the contact ID. So it will make it look like it's come from the individual contact who has been working with these clients. Now this is something that an administrator can do for group found sets as a standard marketing activity. I'm going to just revert it to myself because it's me who is sending this SMS. I'm going to prepare the SMS, and you'll notice it's told me here we've exceeded the maximum of 160 characters. We can hit OK, and we're going to hit Continue, and I'm going to revert the record. So we've got too many characters in here, so we need to fix this up. So we're up to 163 characters, so we may need to just take out Carissa Cole Real Estate, and we'll just leave Carissa Cole here. Click on the grey screen, and we're now ready to go. I can send my bulk SMS by selecting on Send Bulk SMS, and then that will capture it against the contacts record exactly the same as the email did. And we can view exactly what SMS we've sent out to the client at what stage and what details have been in those SMSs. By selecting on the little SMS icon here, I can see I've sent out Carissa and Michael. It was great to talk to you today. Be assured I'll do my best to help you find the perfect property. Have a great day. Regards, Carissa Cole. We've sent that communication out to those clients. Not every communication you have with your buyers or your sellers needs to be a phone call. You can work more effectively by breaking it up into email, SMS and letters. We're just going to select on the contacts record again. Go back to where we were working on details. And we're back to our screen and selecting on buyer icon. So we've had a good look at our buyer screen. We've had a look at the detail view, we've had a look at the list view and what can print for us. We've done a few finds, we've printed a list, we've had a look at the history, we've done a bulk email, we've done a bulk SMS and a trail, And the last thing that we're going to look at on this screen is going to be match to listings. Now we've got this group of clients who we did a very basic find by yes. We're going to do another find by yes, category 2 to 250, 325, and we're going to perform the find. Now we've got 12 clients in this category. I know that it was just one target group that I've got, and I can hit match to listings by price range. I only have one listing in my office, which these clients, all 16 of them, should have been through because it suits their specific requirements. We can hit continue, and I'm going to say no, and I can print that off. Or alternatively, I could do a find on just my buyer, being Ken. And I've just typed Ken's details in from left and right and hit OK. And I can match Ken to a listing because he's one of my new buyers with his requirements. I can do it for suburb, type or range. Now with Ken's specific requirements, there's 3 properties that match his details. I can go file, print them off, and I can move forward. I can get him through those listings and try and sell him one of them. That's match to listings. We'll see in session 3, in regards to putting a brand new property onto the market, how we can group found sets and how we can do also buyer matching from the vendor's information. That is going to be a powerful tool that you will use, so we'll view that in session 3. We're just going to click on details now and go back to the detail record. I've now spoken with Ken, and he has now agreed to go out for an inspection with me. We're going to click on inspections. Now every inspection that you enter into Complete Data is against the person who you are taking through for the inspection. It is not done via the vendor. So we will find Ken and Joy, and we've arranged to meet them at the property. We can create a new inspection, and once we capture the details successfully against the inspection, and we'll just populate today's date and the time and the property that we're going to take them to, this will pop up on our vendor inspection records. So our vendor communications, which we'll see in session 3. Please ensure that all your indications, outcomes and comments are professional, as they do draw through on these vendor reports. We have some features here. We can see whether the client has made an offer. We can see an email, the inspection slip to the listing agent or to the vendor. If you can't remember what each of these icons are, as you hover over, it will give you a determination. Or you have the reference in the list view here. So for instance, I'm not doing an inspection as yet. I'm booking a time for today or for tomorrow. We'll just pop in tomorrow's date on the 16th. I've spoken to the clients, and we're going to the appointment on the 16th of the 10th at 8 o'clock. We're going to meet at 1 Stone Street, Bedrock. Now I can be organised, and I can hit create appointment in my Microsoft Outlook. You must have your Microsoft Outlook open and minimised at the bottom of the screen. This will push out the details of Ken and Joy, their phone number and their contact information into your Outlook for a buyer inspection. Also, you can SMS the appointment and confirm it with your buyer from this screen. So that is a fantastic professional communication. I've just gotten off the phone to them, and I've applied their inspection against their record, and I'm confirming their appointment with them by selecting this icon. It will send out your meeting myself, being Carissa Cole, at 1 Stone Street, Bedrock at 8 AM on the 16th of the 10th by populating this detail. So we've now just applied the SMS for the property that we're going to be meeting them at and completing the inspection. When I come back into the office, I can apply the indication that they may have given me after the inspection. We'll put in here our $, our comma, the outcome, and their comment. Type text here, and that will draw through on their inspection details to your vendor. They may have put forward an offer yes, so we'll tag offer yes, and then we'll go through and we can email the inspection slip to the agent or to the vendor by selecting email. It asks us as listing agent or vendor. I'm just going to hit escape to get out of there and say no. And we can also print off our standard letter of offer. In New South Wales, it is law that we put our offers in writing, so we have got this feature available for you. In other states, it's a great communication if you would like to put your offer in writing to your vendor to get them prepared for all the offers that they're getting. They've got a professional communication here which will draw through the owner's name, the details which will be drawn through, and you can customize these letters. They're all only example letters, and this is covered off in session 1 where you need to customize. We're going to go up to mailings and we'll see at preview that it's drawn through Mr. and Mrs. Flintstone. We've received an offer by the details of the people who have put in the offer on the 16th and the price and the weeks of settlement. It's drawn through from myself, Carissa Cole, as a sales consultant, and I'm now ready to move forward and print that off. I'm going to hit close, once again say no, and I've now actioned and completed that information for the inspection. So not only have I kept myself organised by pushing it out to my Outlook calendar, I've confirmed the appointment with my potential purchaser. I've emailed and SMS the inspection slip to the agent and also the vendor. I can SMS the inspection slip to the vendor if that is office approved in your office. I can print off my standard letter of offer, and I've now actioned and can say I've taken these clients through on this particular date and provide a valuable document for my vendors. We're going to click on details to take us back to the client's record of where we were working. And that is how we enter in a client, work with the client as a buyer. We can pop in an inspection against the client. We can send bulk SMSs and bulk emails from our buyer screens. And the last thing that we're going to look at on this screen is a single SMS and single email. I'm currently on Ken's record here. I may just want to SMS him. I can select on the feature as SMS to send a single SMS to him by the icon, or I can click on the SMS button up here. By selecting on those features, I'm able to email a single email or email a single SMS to the client as well. By selecting on this feature, I'm SMSing the client, inserting my text, taking out the details that I don't require, and you have your opt-out there. Click on the grey screen and I'm sending my SMS. Now be aware when you are sending an SMS, which was covered off in session 1, you must only have a maximum of 160 characters. I can see here that I've got 133 characters, so I can go up to 160. Or alternatively, if I take out a few extra characters here, I'll click on the grey screen and you'll see the amount of characters change. We're now down to 119. If I hit send SMS, that will send that SMS straight out to Ken. and that has been actioned, and it will appear on his record of the details that I've sent to him. Now also, if you have any problems with your SMS, we've got an action plan here for you. You'll be able to see a 10 result means that the message has successfully been delivered. Number 1 means that there's an authentication fail, which occurs when the username and password is invalid. There are a number of other options here that you can view, so please view these details if you get anything other than a 10 in the results area. That completes sending a single SMS from the system. We can click on Contacts, view that it's been captured against his record, and view this detail if required. I can check available credits on my SMS by capturing this information and clicking, or I can return to the client's record. We can select on email, and this will send a single email to the client. So we're selecting a template from our listing information, our select and send feature. I might be sending a reverse engineered email to them. I can insert the template. Here's all my details. I can scroll down, I can add an attachment if I like. I can view the attachment. I can close it down, and I can send the SMS by selecting send. Once again, come to my contacts details, see what I've sent to the client, and return to the client's information. Quite a lot of detail there for you guys to go through and make sure that you're using it to capacity. Once you've got this section mastered, then we can move forward to looking at entering in an appraisal and populating the appraisal through the sales process, creating our sales advice, and this is all covered off in session 3. The last section that we're going to view in today's training is scheduled tasks. Now, we've talked a lot about putting clients on scheduled task, trails, or set and forget features. This is where they appear, as I showed you earlier in the session. There are bulk ways to do a lot of things within Complete Data, so once we start to build and get a number of scheduled tasks, we can use scheduled tasks in a number of different ways. I'm going to click into scheduled tasks. And in scheduled tasks, it's brought me through to my list view. So I can see the ID, the name, the description, the activity, and the date that it's due. Now, I may have been on annual leave for a couple of months, and I may now need to catch up with my scheduled tasks. I can go through and delete if I don't require these to be actioned by the red X, which will delete one task, and it's now been reduced to 289. Alternatively, we can do our task in bulk to minimize our dollar productive time. This is such a powerful tool to help you get organized, get more achieved in a day, and be accountable for what you're setting up within your standards within your office. Now, I've just scrolled down and I can see that there's a whole heap of prospective purchaser letters that need to go out. So I'm going to copy this description. So I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to copy, and I'm now going to go to the top. Now that I'm in my scheduled task, I can now see that my scheduled tasks go all the way back to 2006. The 2nd of the 6th, 2010. So what I need to do is find this group of tasks and find all those same letters that need to be printed out between that time and complete them. I'm going to come up and do a find on my ID, description, I'm going to paste. The activity I can select as a letter. I'm going to tab across, and the tab key is on the top left hand corner of your keyboard, and I've clicked in the phone and I've tabbed across into the date due. If you do not use the tab feature of the date due, then once you click in the box, it will bring up just an option for a particular date. It will only allow you to select one date. This is not going to work for us because we want to capture everything from the 6th month through to today's date. So I'm going to click in the phone and use my tab key to get across into date due. This is a bit more of an advanced find, but just remember that the process is available for you once you start to get too many scheduled tasks. We've now got the date due, so I'm going to put in the 1st of the 6th. And I can use the 3 dots, which means arrange, or I can come up to my operators. As long as I've got my cursor flashing in the box where I require it, I can come up to operators, and this gives me a determination of what I can use. We're going to scroll down to range, and that will populate the 3 dots. I can then finish my range off, being through to today's date, and tag completed no. Because what we're doing is finding everything that has got this description under my ID, which is tagged as a letter, on the date due 1st of the 6th 2010, and anything between then and today's date that has been tagged as completed no. To action this find, I come up and select Perform Find. I have now got 27 letters which can be completed all at once. This will make sure I'm maximising my dollar productive time. Instead of sitting here and opening one activity or one letter up at a time, as I'll example, say yes, and going through and hitting mailings and preview one at a time, I can close this down and say no to the changes. Instead of opening one at a time, I can now come up and use my scripts. Scripts have been created to make life a little easier for you so that we can maximize our productivity. Now I'm going to move my way down to print same letter for current found set. This will open up the same letter for the current found set, which is what we've found, so we'll just reflect back on. We found everything under my ID, under the description, as a letter, and for a particular range, and completed no. When we hit Perform Find, it brought up 27 contacts that all need this letter sent out to them. I can now come up to Scripts, down to print same letter for current found set. It lets me know that this will print the same letter for all the records in the current found set. We're okay with this, so we'll hit OK. You do have an opt-out for the cancel button. This is now just generating all 27 clients' details and opening up the letter so that I can mail merge it all at once. It's taking a little bit longer today. It won't be a moment. We say yes to the SQL command. Up to mailings, across to Finish and Merge, Edit Individual Document, OK. Once again, as an example, we can print out our letters, addressed to our clients. I can do one letter as easily as I can do 27. I've now actioned my scheduled task, printed these letters off to my letterhead, and I can now move forward. Closing down, saying no to any changes, and closing the documents. So that's how we can group one action which needs to be completed between a date range for a current found set, being 27 clients, print off a letter to them all, and now we're going to go to another bulk feature. Be very careful with this feature, as you need to make sure that you're in the right screen and also the right activity. I'm going to click in here and tag off yes. I can use a shortcut, and the shortcut is Control equals. Which will bring up the dialog box for us here. It says that we're going to permanently replace the contents of the field for all 27 records in the current found set with yes. We'll hit replace, and that will replace everything that is tagged as no with yes. I'm going to cancel out now, and I'm also going to show you another way you can do that. This saves us going through and going yes, 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 and working our way through the yeses and ticking them off. We can go through and do this in bulk. So we'll reflect upon that again with an easier option. We can tag completed yes in the first action, go up to our scripts, records, and replace field contents. So this is saying we're replacing field contents, and it gives you the shortcut that I discussed a moment ago. Control equals, and then you're able to replace the field contents. Make sure you are definitely in the right field. This can be a danger if you're not in the right field. It will change the field that you've currently got your cursor in, which can be a disaster. As long as you've got a backup, you'll always be able to get your information back. So we're just tagging off the first record, coming over to replace field contents, which brings up the same dialog box. It lets us know that we're permanently replacing the field contents of call made, 27 records, current found set, replace with yes, and we're happy with that, and we hit replace. That has now just tagged off all 27 letters that I've completed at a couple of clicks of the button. This will make you dollar productive. Alternatively, another action that I'll show you is the last one that we'll look at in today's training session, is we can do a find on my ID and a description, an activity, and we can just categorize it as phone call or an activity such as a letter or SMS, so that we can categorize them. So we're going to click on the CD icon, which will take us out of here now. We'll select on Schedule Tasks, and we can see here we've got all of our activities. I can come up and I can sort by phone call. I want to get all my phone calls out of the way. So I'm going to come across and I'm going to select on Schedule Call Date. I'm going to clear that. And I want to be call made, full description, ID, or the activity. So there's a number of different features that we can apply here. I'm going to scroll up and select on Activity Type. I'm going to sort it. So we've got appointments, we've got here emails, letters, and phone calls. So that may be the order that we'd like to view them in. So we can see all of our phone calls at once, and there's a number of different ways we can do that. Alternatively, if you're working through this list view format here and you would like a little bit more detail, we can come up to detailed view. I can see that I've got all my emails or all my phone calls that I need to achieve. I've got a little bit more information. So we'll scroll up to the first record. So we've got Ian Thorpe here. He was an appointment and we've completed that. We can tag it off as yes. I can work my way down and I can say Ronald McDonald. I can write a note and I'm going to pop in called and I left a message and I'll try again tomorrow. I can click on the grey screen and I can tag this off and I can add another activity, or I can just leave this activity here until I'm ready to tag it off as completed yes. Alternatively, if I would like to send him an SMS because I've called him on his mobile but there was no message service, I can hit SMS, a new SMS, and I can insert the buy template, or sorry I missed you when I called template, and send that off to the client. So that just lets him know that I've sent him an SMS. I did try and call, but I missed him. So we can go back to the contact screen and that will take me directly back to Ronald McDonald's information here, but it won't take me back to where we were working. I can use my Windows key and I can go back to my scheduled calls to exactly where I was working. So this was the list view and I've been working through the detailed view. You can print off your scheduled tasks as well with a bit more detail. So if you're out of the office you can take them and complete them whilst you're on the run in between appointments. I'm going to hit continue. Essentially I would print that off. I'm going to say no. And I can now finish my session. So we've now finished. We've done our scheduled tasks for our blocked out time today. You may ask a question, and I get this quite constantly in training. How come there are two screens and I get confused, and how can I close it down and minimize it? Complete data is built. We're going to select on CD icon. Complete data is built on FileMaker Pro. This means we have 55 databases which enable you to do a number of different things and work in between integrated screens. Now the Windows key is essentially our back button. These screens that we've got open behind here are different screens where we've been activating and utilizing some information from over the last couple of moments. If I would like to go back, instead of clicking into inquiries or into contacts or into scheduled tasks, I know that I would like to go back to where I was working. So we can see earlier in the session we were back in the listings database. That will take me back to the listing where we were working with Fred and Wilma. Or I can navigate again to my messages or to my scheduled tasks by selecting on this detail. It leaves the screen open behind the scenes so that we can navigate effectively. I can see the SMS that's sent, and this is a quicker way for me to get around and work in the fields where I've been utilizing briefly. So essentially your Windows key is your back button, and the reason we've got all these screens open is they're databases that we have been in. At all times you can see which database you're in by CD listings. Once you become familiar with the program, we can select on contacts and we can now see that we're back in the contacts database. We can select on the CD icon, which will take us back to where we were working. I'd like to thank you everyone for attending today's session. I wish you luck with this session and with your program. Consistency is the key. Also taking steps to implement and do these training videos over and over again. Remember, you can stop and you can pause and you can play and return to the feature as you require. It is a fantastic self-paced way of learning. You will start to pick up every feature and maximize your database. I'm going to leave you in a moment, but the last thing that you will need to pop in is if you're not got some details captured next to you and you need to know where you can start by doing little steps of implementing. So we're going to come into the implementations database, and in implementations is everything that we need to get started. We can also come in and we can say a new task. I can ID it to myself. The description is activate my buyers and complete training. I'm going to give myself a due date. So this is a date where I can say I'm going to have this action implemented and activated within my system. It's a perfect way of working effectively, making sure you're capturing the details in one place and then working on that capture. We're going to select on here, I'm going to give myself November the 25th to finish capturing and activate my details. I've got 42 days till it's due, and I can break it down into my write notes area. So I'm going to customize my letters, templates and trails. What are the actions that I need to do in regards to this? First, I need to look at all my letters. And print out. Excuse my typing. So print out, review, and action. Step 1. So we can now customize the letters, templates and trails and look at my actions that need to be completed for me to get this achieved in the 42 days. We hit update note. Update the note and we're ready to go. We can now click on the CD icon. That was under Systems and Implementations, and you've got your tasks that you need to complete before your deadline. Thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to talking to you in training soon.